Are you ready to find out what would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Well, buckle up, because this journey through an unspinning Earth is about to take you on a wild ride. The planet we call home spins at nearly 1,770 kilometers per hour. That's about 1,037 miles per hour. It might sound like a slow spin, but it's this constant motion that shapes our days, our weather, and even our very survival. So what would happen if the Earth, our big blue marble in the cosmos, just stopped spinning on its axis? You may have seen those doomsday movies where the Earth gets knocked out of its orbit or collides with some rogue asteroid. But what if its demise was a little less dramatic and more, well, boring? Imagine the Earth just slowing down to a stop. No crash, no bang, just an abrupt stillness in its rotation. In fact, let's imagine this scenario played out at a moment when you are standing right in the middle of London. In an instant, everything around you is hurled forward at breakneck speed. Skyscrapers, cars, even the air itself rushes away from you, as if the city is being pulled forward by an invisible force. The Thames, not too far from where you're standing, rises dramatically, forming a giant wave that crashes over the south bank before receding back into the riverbed. And above you, the sky, which was a clear blue just a moment ago, is now filled with swirling clouds and ominous dark skies. You feel a sudden lurch in your stomach, a sensation of weightlessness for a split second, and then everything comes to a jarring halt. If you survived this sudden shift in motion, you would find yourself in a world turned upside down, literally. One side of the planet, including your now stationary London, is bathed in the perpetual daylight of summer. On the opposite side, an endless night reigns, trapping the other half of humanity in eternal winter. Between these two extremes lies a narrow band where the sun rises and sets every 24 hours, as it did before the Earth's great stop. This band, roughly 21 degrees north and south of the equator, becomes the new Goldilocks zone, the only place on Earth where the climate is still somewhat similar to what humans are used to. But this apparent simplicity is deceptive. As the Earth continues to sit unmoving in space, other forces begin to take hold. Without the stabilizing effect of the Earth's rotation, the atmosphere, which was once held in place by centrifugal force, drifts away. Over time, most of it gathers at the poles, creating thick, dense layers of air that are thousands of times more massive than before. These massive concentrations of gas and dust form colossal storm systems that rage for years, blocking any hope of sunlight reaching the surface below. And then there's the ocean. Without the Earth's rotation to keep things churning, the water begins to drift away from the equator, pulled by the relentless force of gravity. The result, ocean levels rise significantly in the Arctic and Antarctic regions, while they recede in the northern hemisphere. As the North Pole becomes the planet's new center of mass, coastal cities like New York, London, and Sydney find themselves increasingly underwater, submerged beneath a rising tide. At this point, the Earth has become a very different place. The climate, once relatively stable, has swung to extremes. The equatorial regions experience relentless heat, made worse by towering rainforests that are now starved of the winds that once helped regulate their temperature. Meanwhile, the former far northern and southern latitudes plunged into an ice age, trapping anyone who didn't flee to the habitable zone in an endless winter. But even in this narrow band of relative safety, life as we know it can no longer exist. Plants and animals, many of which have evolved under the assumption that the Earth would continue spinning, simply cannot survive the drastic change in climate. Crops wither and die, livestock freeze or overheat, and the food supply collapses in a matter of months. With the Earth's magnetic field, which was partly generated by the planet's rotation, now in flux, solar radiation takes a heavy toll on the remaining human settlements. Days that were once filled with the hum of daily life are now overshadowed by the threat of deadly solar flares. For those who survived the initial cataclysm, the struggle to stay alive intensifies. Now facing the harsh realities of their new world, humanity is forced to confront the stark truth. They are on their own. In the face of this daunting challenge, two paths emerge for the remnants of humanity. One is to seek refuge in the depths of Earth's new poles, hoping to carve out a life in the underground, perhaps utilizing geothermal energy to survive. The other path is to band together and attempt a mass migration, a desperate bid to reach the one area of the Earth where the climate remains somewhat hospitable. However, this journey is fraught with danger. The band of the habitable zone, roughly 20 degrees north and south of the equator, becomes the new frontier, a battleground for survival. Desperate groups of people clash over dwindling resources, fighting tooth and nail for a piece of land that can still support life. The Earth, once a cradle of civilization, now resembles a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Cities lie in ruins, their towering skyscrapers crumbling under the relentless assault of wind and rain. Fields lie barren, a testament to the failure of crops in the face of extreme temperatures. And the sky, once a symbol of freedom and exploration, is now a constant reminder of the harsh reality that humanity faces. As the survivors desperately struggle to maintain their grip on life, the Earth continues its silent spin, or rather lack of spin. Each day is a gamble, each night a risk. The survivors must constantly be on guard against the elements, against other desperate individuals or groups, and against the ever-present threat of deadly solar radiation. The Earth, without its rotation, has become a ruthless taskmaster. It demands constant vigilance, unwavering strength, and the willingness to do whatever it takes to survive. It is a world where the rules of nature have been rewritten, where the familiar has become strange, and where the very essence of life hangs in the balance. Amidst this bleak panorama, pockets of humanity resist, struggling to maintain their humanity in the face of such brutality. Some turn to religion, seeking solace and strength in their beliefs. Others band together, drawing strength from shared adversity and the bonds of community. There are even those who throw themselves into rebuilding, attempting to recreate some semblance of the world that was lost. Yet amidst all this despair, there are glimmers of hope, small acts of kindness, moments of courage, and instances of humanity prevailing over the harshest of circumstances. Perhaps it is in these small acts that the true spirit of humanity lies, the ability to endure, to adapt, and to strive for a better existence, even in the face of oblivion. Now, here's a question for you. If you were in this world where the Earth stopped spinning, where would you go? The perpetual darkness of the poles, the scorching heat near the equator, or maybe the twilight zone in between? Let us know in the comments. And if this apocalyptic scenario has you questioning reality, hit that like button. Subscribe to Other Side and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Join our growing community of over 3 million subscribers and let us take you to places you've only imagined. Until next time, this is Other Side. And remember, there's a whole world out there that we can't see. Explore it. Now check out another video from the channel and let your journey continue.